We're back. It's still B3 Conversations, in case you got lost and thought you were looking at some other video or some other people. We're still doing. This will be our second video on the
classic WoW
talent builds, and this time we're gonna do
Paladins.
Gravity. Paladins with gravity, because gravity still functions. Anyway. And we're doing Paladins kind of because, well, we did Shaman last time. And so before we jump into both sides got classes, we'll do the
unique ones, the
ones that were unique to each faction. Started with the Horde and moving on to
the Alliance.
The Alliance.
The other guys.
Those other guys. So Paladins. What are we thinking for our Paladin builds?
I'm pretty much thinking of a build that's already been done previously, but hoping with the promises that Blizzard brings of balancing everything out.
No, they're going to leave it just how it was.
They're not going to balance? They said they were going to balance.
Nope. They said that it's going to be basically an authentic version minus a bunch of the exploits and stuff
broken
like that.
Stuff. They're fixing.
They're going to fix the junk that's all broke. So like the exploits should all go away, and the hacks that were available back in the day and all that junk should all disappear.
But other than that,
it's going to be just the way it was. If your talents were badass, they're still going to be that way.
Okay.
I mean, very good talents. So anyway, as you were saying, carry on.
I will be playing the Shakadin build, which is pretty much a Holy Paladin build, but you're only fighting, not healing. And the way it works is through critical strike is pretty much your primary stat besides stamina and intellect. And your whole point is to just pretty much critically hit everybody with this holy shock ability that you get and hope that you crit everyone into submission. It requires to go pretty deep into the holy tree.
Like all the way, right?
Pretty much all the way. You have to pretty much spend 32 points plus.
You want the top tier talent, right?
Mm-hmm, which is the holy shock.
Hence the Shakadin.
Mm-hmm. And it's an instant cast ability, so it's pretty sweet. And then you pretty much, depending on how you do it, if you're going to PvE or PvP, you'll build it differently, but
both will you do?
I'm pretty much going to PvP.
Oh.
So I'm going to go into the Retribution, which allows you for increased movement speed with the one second.
See, you should have been ready.
Pursuit of Justice, which increases your movement speed by so much on a mount or while off the mount. It's a pretty nice ability. And then another good one to have if you decide to go into Retribution is Vindication, which reduces the target's strength and agility by so much if you put 3 points into it.
If you go 3 deep, which is all you can do, it's 15%, which is a lot of strength and a lot of agility.
Lost, yeah.
I know that because my plan is to run one of 2 different builds, but they're both basically going to be one-handed shield-bearing Retribution. And the reason being is it increases your survivability. That's always my concern with classic or old school World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft, not Claft, because being dead takes a lot of time. It's a bummer.
It's expensive.
It's all the way expensive.
Time consuming. It's depressing. It's just not fun.
At some point you'll rage quit. So
sooner or later, yeah. So what talents would you get?
So it's gonna be a hybrid build. It's gonna be deep hybrid. Because I'm gonna get 11 points into Holy to get improved strength, and then your second tier is improved Seal of the Righteous, which increases Seal of the Righteous and Judgment of the Righteous damage, which is what we want. Then I went ahead on that and decided to go with Consecration as an AoE damage, and that's the third tier in Holy. It's a single point deal, instacast. It's pretty good, and it should help a lot with damage output.
And you can use it for zoning, because in the higher levels it does get it you don't want to stand in it, so you can zone with it in battlegrounds, which is nice.
And so and then in protection, depending on which build I run, I'm gonna run Redoubt, which increases the shield block ability by 30%.
The first tier build.
Yeah. Toughness, which we talked about.
As a shaman.
As a shaman, increases your armor. On this one, it increases armor value by items by 10%. That's for this one, and I'll go. If I do all that, I'm going to go real deep into
Protection.
No,
Retribution.
Retribution.
Oh, okay.
And get all of the vengeance out of it. I'm not going to do any parry. I think parry would be a better talent to take if you're going to do a two-handed build, just because you don't have the shield. Yeah, if you have both, you're right, it's a good deal, but I didn't do that. Instead, I took a new seal,
Seal of Command.
Seal of Command, because I thought that was a good one, and I took a new aura, the Sanctity aura. I thought both of those were good for this particular build. Now, that being said, on my other build, I did a little different. Same amount in Holy, but in Protection, I go all the way to Shield Specialization, which increases the amount of damage absorbed by your shield by 30%, which is outstanding. And at that, by doing that, what I did instead of, I only went 1 point into Vengeance, but I picked up Retribution Aura to increase the amount of damage that Retribution Aura does, holy damage it does, by 50%. I'm not sure which of those is going to be better, and I didn't take the Sanctity Aura. I left that off for this build. And it's going to be a mix and match thing, really. I'm not sure how it's all going to work out. Looking at these and the numbers that these look like they're going to generate, I think both of these will work really good. You'll have shocking survivability, but should be able to put out good damage still. That kind of a deal. And you know, this is kind of what we were talking about in the Shaman video, is that hybridization really looks like it should work well, which is what I've got going here. I didn't go full depth into any tree, but I could have, and I chose not to on this one because I'm trying to have legendary survivability. And I'm probably going to PvP and PvE. What we saw BlizzCon, and we saw what they're talking about on Classic and some of the things that they're talking about. And I'm kind of disappointed that it sounds like they're going to listen to some of the people who think that raiding gear should be better than top tier PvP gear, which I don't think it should be. Because, yeah, your bosses have a ton of crazy mechanics, and yeah, there's all of that. But from what I've seen, once you learn those mechanics, you're okay. You can do whatever you need to do. However, against another living player, yeah.
Tactics always change.
Tactics change. You never can be 100% certain what they're going to do. So I think the PvP gear should be as good as raiding gear or better. And they said something, I thought, it's not going to go that way. And I think that's a bad plan.
Me too.
But we'll see.
I thought what they were saying was the game's not going to launch with the PvP gear. But
it's not going to launch with. I think we're going to get Warsong Gulch.
Yeah.
And must be a Arathi.
Gotta be a Arathi, yeah.
Those two with the second content patch that they're going to put out.
And I thought that was also when they were doing the gear for the PvP.
Correct. But there was also a comment made about how people weren't happy that, you could just go PvP all day, all night and wind up with really good gear and actually be able to compete in a dungeon or a raid. You should just have raiding gear. That's stupid. I'm sorry. That's as stupid as it gets. I'm going to go back to what I said a minute ago. Yes, raid boss mechanics can be challenging, but once everybody has them figured out, they have them figured out and they kind of know what to do. You don't get that option with players.
Especially with Classic coming back, because all the raid mechanics for all these old raids have been figured out.
Oh yeah, it's not like it's going to be new.
It's not like it's, unless it is, which
it's not going to be. They're going to know what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they did updates on a bunch of them. Yeah, Blackrock Spire got broke into 2 deals instead of one gigantic thing with 75 bosses, but
it's going to be that again.
But it sounds like they're putting all that back the way it was. And I just disagree with if what I heard is correct and if I understood it correctly, I disagree that PvP gear shouldn't be as good as raid gear. That's wrong. It just is. But then I always thought it was silly that the gear had different enough stats that you kind of couldn't use them for the other very well. I always thought that was stupid too, but what do I know? I'm not a full-time gamer. Jonah, what do you think?
No, I think it's pretty stupid too. But I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see what's happening. What are you going to build?
I'm going to do a protection heavy with some retribution and no holy at all. My whole plan was PvP, so I went pretty deep into protection so that I wouldn't die as much. And when people are attacking me, I have Blessing of Sanctuary, which is pretty far down, which anytime you block an attack, you deal holy damage back. And I have that paired with the Sanctity Aura, which is a new aura which gives 10% increased holy damage. So I figured that could be a really strong combination.
I agree.
On top of all the blocking passives and buffs that we have from this, and the armor, and I have one that reduces the cooldown of the Paladin's stun by 15 seconds, which is a lot.
Especially back then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not like now where it is a 15-second cooldown. It's like a minute cooldown.
Yeah, and the Sanctity Aura that I was talking about taking as well, it would again be really good with Consecration, because that's all holy damage. So it increases that damage of that holy light coming off the Consecration.
Yeah.
So on the one where I don't take that, I may opt out of that and try to put that point into that guy right there.
Oh, Vengeance?
Yeah, instead of having just 1 point in that, have 2 points in it.
Yeah.
That might be better, especially since I'm not going to have the boosted or holy damage. But I'll be getting the extra holy damage out of the 50% extra.
From Retribution Aura?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that should balance out pretty good.
Yeah.
I think. But we won't know for sure until we get into game. And I was a little disappointed in the demo in that I was hoping that it would be more like the trial, where we were just going to roll nubs, show up in the starting zone, and play for 10 or 15 levels. 10, 15, maybe even 20 levels, whatever it was. Probably just 10. 10, maybe 15. But instead, they gave us all 15 level characters, and
You're trapped in the Barrens or Westfall.
Yep.
Which is retarded. Anyway, I also have a talent called Reckoning, where whenever you are a victim from a critical strike, you smack them back. So you get hit, and then that triggers a free attack off cooldown and off of your weapon's speed and haste and whatever, which also plays off of the Redoubt talent that was mentioned earlier, because you have to be critically stricken for that also to proc, the 30% extra block chance, which is all really nice and plays together well. So the whole idea with my build is the more damage you're taking, the less damage you're taking and the more damage you're doing. Which kind of plays into PvP, I think, really well. I did have the parry chance because why not? I could have put it somewhere else, but why not put it there? It'd be funny to put it there, so I did.
It's not funny, that's a really good talent. And I had to really weigh in my own mind not getting parry against what I could get by not taking it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So instead of taking something else or going deeper into one of the other trees or way deeper into the retribution tree, there's a couple of talents I wanted to get, but I decided it might be best to do what I did. But we'll see, because as usual, like I was saying in Shaman, when it comes time to level, I'm going to be taking the talent that literally I look at and go, oh, that one's going to keep me alive the longest. That's all I care about right now.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Like we said in the last video too, these builds aren't like something that should be just only followed. You know, look at them maybe, then figure out what you want to do. Use them as a guide, if nothing else.
Yeah, and like he was saying, between the different trees, there are talents that look like they should go together.
Yeah.
Like, those should have been in the same tree. They work so well together.
But I can see why they wouldn't.
But I think they did it, well, yeah, I can see why they didn't too, but again, I still think that they were hoping for some
creative building.
Some creative hybridization. So.
Yeah. That's what I got.
How come you didn't get Holy Shield at the bottom of protection? What made you decide not to get that?
Can't have Holy Shield and Sanctity Aura. There's not enough points.
Okay.
I'd have to have 31 points here, which leaves 19 points for here.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't do that.
And you didn't do the full meal deal on toughness either.
No, but I have this. Anticipation, which increases your defense skill, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the like weapon skill for shields.
Yes.
So it will make your blocking better and more often and stuff. So
all by itself, yeah. Okay.
So between anticipation, parry, and the blocking talents, I've decided that I could lose 2 points from toughness. Instead of having the full 10% extra armor, it's only 6. But that's still a lot for having a shield and plate armor. You're looking at precision.
Mm-hmm.
That one increases your chance to hit with melee weapons by 3%, so you don't miss as much.
Which is actually beneficial because that 3% doesn't seem like much, but we're going to have to grind out weapon skills, right? And so people are going to either wind up having a favorite and sticking to it, you know. Humans, the smart play would be mace or swords.
Yeah.
I really thought dwarves had mace specialization, but
everything I've looked up says otherwise.
Says no.
So
just like some of that other stuff I thought. Apparently it's all wrong.
Apparently incorrect.
I find it hard to believe that it's incorrect, but I can't say that it's not because apparently the reality is that it is. But anyway, so that 3%, you throw that 3% onto a maxed out weapon skill, and let's say you're level 60. What is your skill? It winds up like 300, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Plus 3%.
That's a lot. Yeah,
it doesn't seem like much, but it's going to be quite a bit. Yeah, it's going to put you at almost 310, right? 310%.
I don't know if that's actually how it works because there's a hit stat that you have in your weapons, in your character sheet, which your weapon skill, I think, helps determine however high it is.
Oh, and you're thinking that modifies that skill?
Yes.
Okay. Still, either way.
Yeah.
The more often you hit,
the more often things take damage.
Just saying. The races that can be paladins during Classic are 2. There's only 2 of them.
Oh.
No Zandalari trolls, no crazy stuff like that. It's humans and dwarves, period. That's it.
That's all you got.
I guarantee I will roll a dwarf.
Same.
Because
Yeah.
dwarfs are awesome.
Humans, just from a pure like stat standpoint, humans would be the best choice.
They make the most sense.
Because
That's all I'm going for. Is pure status.
They've got the best racials.
They have increased
For
spirit.
Paladin, yeah.
They have increased spirit. They have a 10% increased reputation gain. They have sword, mace specialization, and then something else that's really, really good.
Stealth detection.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's all that.
Yeah. Dwarves would be good too. Dwarf would be really good for my build because of one talent or one racial in particular.
Stone skin.
Stone skin. Which
I use stone skin all the time as a paladin.
reduced the amount of damage you take by
For
a
a
certain
short period
amount
of time.
for a little bit. Yeah.
30 seconds or something.
Well,
maybe
I don't
that's-
think it's 30, maybe 10.
Maybe 5 or 10 at most. Unless
No,
you're
it's
wrong.
I think it's more than 5. I was playing that dwarf paladin on the demo. Yeah, me. Anyway, I was playing the dwarf paladin on the demo, and it was definitely longer than 5 seconds.
Okay.
But I don't think it was over 10. It was a little ways. And the nice thing about it is the cooldown's not that bad.
No. Minute?
I'm not even sure it's a minute. It might be 45 seconds.
Long enough to use
Maybe it's a
regularly.
minute. Maybe it's a minute and a half. I don't know. All I know is that it seemed that I could use it regular enough that it was all the way beneficial.
Yeah.
Just leveling. So. So I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else are the dwarves' racials?
Treasure finding, which on your little mini map shows you where chests are and stuff, and gun specialization.
Which is of no use as a paladin.
They had, how many is that? Is that only 3? They had one other one.
Was it mining?
Might have been mining or blacksmithing.
One or the other.
I'm not sure. We'll have
I
to
don't
look.
know.
And
Yeah, we will look
We'll
in.
put in notes or something. In
You'll
there.
already know by now.
Yeah. You'll be like, why are they still talking about it? Stupid, it just said on the screen. Anyway. So, that's all pretty cool. Paladins are a lot of fun. I do think they're a good counterpart to Shaman. And I do think pure builds are great. They work good. They've got good stuff going for them. But the hybridization and, that kind of thing of both classes, I think really has the potential to make them fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and very
Fun.
well. I wasn't gonna say fun. Yeah, fun. They're fun.
Fun.
But
Fun's what matters here.
they're a very good offset to each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know everybody back in the day was like, "Oh no, those people got paladins. They're so great. It's not fair." Oh no, they got shaman. They're so tough. It's terrible. It's not fair. I just don't think that's the case.
No.
I think the reality is, looking at the talents, looking at the way they are, there's enough stuff, there's enough similarity between the talents as far as overall end result abilities that played correctly and talented correctly and geared correctly, which some of that's will be a challenge in Classic WoW, despite everybody thinking, I'm an expert. I've been raiding for the last 5 years. It's not going to be the same.
Nope. You have to remember, this is back in the day when it was a 40-man raid.
Oh, that was weird, dude. They were talking about 20-man raid in the
20-man encourage. Yeah.
Encourage, which I was thinking, no, you can't do Encourage with 20 people. You can't even come close. You got to have, at least 3 tanks, because
On a few, yeah.
some of those bosses you got to have at least 3 tanks, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, because you had your main tank and your 2 off tanks, because your main tank could only take so much damage before they were about dead.
And your 2 off tanks usually were less geared or less good.
Well-
Something was a stand-in that was needed for a specific boss or something.
One of them typically was used for patrols and ads and weird junk like that, because in some of those old raids you could not
Get away.
withstand a major boss fight that picked up ads.
No,
You just couldn't. You either the boss had to be kited someplace safe to fight, or the ads had to be kited someplace safe. I mean, and that's all there was to it. And there were times it's happened. I've been in a couple of big raids, big 40-man raids, where the tanks are either not paying attention or something happened, and the boss and the ads get together, and you're just like, ah! Same.
And then there's Naxxramas.
In fact, I think it was Naxxramas that I'm talking about. it was the
Guild Crusher.
that one.
The 4 horsemen required 8 tanks.
Yep. It
Two,
was.
2 tanks per boss, and there were 4 bosses.
Yeah. That was.
And you had to kill them in a wonky specific order,
Or they kept coming back.
they kept buffing themselves, or something weird.
I think they did a weird buff to each other.
Yeah.
It's been so long since
I have
was
no idea.
since I was in Naxxramas. I know that the Patchwork. I think it's Patchwork.
Okay.
The big
Big abomination.
the big abomination.
Yeah.
That deal I was talking about, where the off tank was supposed to be catching ads and keeping them away. I know I'm pretty confident 2 or 3 times I was in there, that didn't go that way. That's how I'm saying. If the ads and the boss all wound up in the same little area together, it was over. It was ugly.
Didn't you do it in Wrath of the Lich King?
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where
And it probably was nowhere near as hard as it was in
Vanilla.
vanilla.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, it was still
It
hard.
was still hard, yeah.
I was just,
Naxxramas was probably the hardest raid.
dude, that was a
Classic.
tough raid. You think so?
Oh yeah,
no.
Over
that used to be
Over
the
the
raid
Black Rock?
that. Oh yeah, oh god, yeah. It used to be the raid that would destroy guilds, and guilds would break apart because people couldn't do it. Back in classic.
Less than 1.
That's why it's a guild killer.
I think it's still labeled as the hardest raid in history for World of Warcraft, because like less than 2 or 3% of the population of World of Warcraft has ever seen Vanilla WoW of Kel'Thuzad. Even cleared a single wing,
I never
let
did.
alone all 4.
And you know the guys who had the tier 3 armor from Naxxramas was some serious shit.
Oh yeah, they were some hardcore no-lifes.
I don't need a life. I got my video game World of Warcraft. Woo me! Whatever.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Paladins. We were talking about Paladins. We got off track. Talking about tanking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fine. And again, Paladins, like Shaman, can emergency heal. If they have to, they can
Need
emergency
to.
heal. In fact, they've got some of the best bubbles in the game. Best self-preservation bubbles in the game.
Oh yeah. But they got bubbles, they got blessings, they got lay on hands, which is the best oh shit button in the
You can be all the way down to all but dead, no mana, no nothing. Click that. It's on a long cooldown, 5-minute cooldown.
It was, the ability itself wasn't on that much of a cooldown, but it gave
Yeah, dude, it's on a 5-minute cooldown.
Okay, maybe it was on a long cooldown, but it gave whoever you used it on forbearance for like 15 minutes. So they couldn't get any
Shielded,
blessings,
they couldn't get anything.
any kind of buff from a paladin for that amount of time. So it was,
Yeah.
you're either gonna die.
No, they could get buffed. They
Well-
couldn't get shielded of any kind.
Or any blessings.
I think they could get the blessings.
Like the blessing of freedom and stuff?
No.
Well, not that one.
Well, those are the blessings I'm talking about.
Well, you weren't very specific, so
Well, aren't they all the
So-
same?
No.
I don't think so.
You have Blessing of Wisdom, which is a holy talent, which gives you increased mana.
Regen.
Regeneration. You have Blessing of Strength, Blessing of Kings, which is a protection buff for
Yeah, there's a bunch of blessings. Now, I think he's right about the blessing of freedom. I think that one, forbearance, prevents you from using it. Anyway, back to this. I think we're about done.
Yeah, I got.
We've talked about the class. We've talked about our talents. We've talked about some of the abilities. We've talked about the races and which ones, well, of the two, which ones we think are the best. I'm realistically gonna. I would have swore dwarves had mace specialization. I would have bet money on it, and so it kind of bums me out that they don't. But you're probably right. It probably never did. I'm probably just retarded in remembering remembering what I want it to be. And besides, it doesn't make sense for mining dwarves and shit to have mace specialization. They wouldn't use a mace to carve stone or to cut stone or do any of that stuff. Just saying. Doesn't play into the fantasy at all. Not even a little.
No, what really plays into the fantasy is that humans have everything.
I sometimes think they did that because I don't know why they did
I
that.
don't know why they did that.
I typically don't play humans in video games where you can play anything that's not a human because, you know, I live the human life and yeah, there's no magic and yeah, there's none of this and none of that probably. But yeah, I just figure if I'm gonna go play it, pretend to be something I'm not, I should go all the way out and pretend to be something I'm not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Elijah kind of does that.
Sort of.
He plays girls. He's sort of not a girl. Hey buddy, how's it going? How you doing? Why's your face all red? Anyway, we should stop now. This is about as long as the edited version of the Shaman one, so that's probably pretty good. Feel free to like, subscribe, dislike, whatever. Even a dislike gets
Noticed.
is counted as something.
If you liked it long enough to not like it, you watched enough for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully this will be up by the end of the week, like the other one. If this works out, if this schedule works out, we're going to try to film one on the weekends and get it edited by the following weekend, so that kind of leapfrogging thing. But we'll see how it works out. Holidays are coming. Things will either be better or worse or the same. So, that's all. Okay. I'm Talon.
Elijah.
Jonah?
And this is B3 Conversations, and we're done.
Bye.
Good luck.